aka my room. Not, I don't know if I said live or not. Not live, but always unedited. Today I wanted to talk about a couple, kind of one subject that's going to break down into a couple sub-subjects, but relationships, and particularly the differences between a couple of them, and so what those two things are first up for relationships is soulmates. I'm going to talk about soulmates for a little bit. I want to talk about what I call a twin flame. And then also I want to talk about that young love, that Twitter patient. I like if anyone's seen any Disney movies, you know the movie Bambi, of course. I'm sure a lot of people will be able to relate with that, but the movie Bambi, where it's springtime and everyone starts just going crazy over their mate or their other significant, their true love is what a lot of people call it. And so, yeah, I just want to get into that for a little bit, okay? A lot of people think that they're in love, you know? And they say, I fall in love, or I fell in love, or I fall in love. And just the connotation of fall, to fall from where? It's not a good thing. Falling is never a good thing. I would say that rising in love, we rose in love together, would be much more appropriate for anything long term. But first of all, before I start getting more into the specifics, I want to talk about soulmates, okay? So these guys, these are just my opinions, these are my beliefs. Feel free to adopt them or reject them as you feel suits your betterment. And so, soulmates. What is a soulmate? Well, I believe that a soulmate is anybody who comes into my life and teaches me something. Almost as if our souls were friends or knew each other in a previous time, and we decided to incarnate in the same area as each other, so that we could bring value to each other. A soulmate brings you value in the form of a lesson, in the form of helping you remember something from a previous life. You know, whether they want to remind you of a pain that you still haven't dealt with yet, or if they want to remind you of something you used to love to do, or a feeling you used to love to experience, and that maybe you still love to experience it. And so soulmates are basically anyone who comes into your life and teaches you something. A soulmate can be the same sex as you. You know, a soulmate can be the opposite sex as you. There aren't really any hard. It's not like some shell that you have to fit into. It's more flexible than that. That's what I believe a soulmate is. And so I have a lot of soulmates. Almost as if our souls had mated and brought forth lessons, you know, on an energetic level. I have a lot of soulmates, and I'm grateful for them. Then there's something that we call twin flames, that I call a twin flame. And this is somebody who's their entire being is operating at an intensity almost just like yours. They're really just like you. In fact, you love burning next to them because you don't outshine each other. You don't make each other feel uncomfortable physically. You feel amazing around each other, and it just feels good. There's no feelings of insecurity towards each other or yourselves. I would say it's really hard to find a twin flame, somebody who burns at the same intensity as you. And until you do, you're going to be just running into a lot of soulmates. Soulmates will attempt, in an effort to teach you something, they'll attempt to restrict your freedom in many different kinds of ways, whether it's coming from their own insecurities or your insecurities. Possibly you're seeing your insecurities in them, and it causes you to attack them. But all of this happens to teach you something about yourself. So soulmates will teach, preach. Soulmates, they'll teach, they'll preach, and they'll limit your freedom. Directly or indirectly. Burning flames, twin flame, your twin flame. I just love how romantic that sounds. Your twin flame is going to help you unlock yourself even more and actually increase the amount of freedom that you have to be you. Because you won't feel like you're being judged. You won't feel like you need to be controlling. You won't feel like you need something from them. You won't feel like your happiness depends on them. Because it's not that you're lucky to be with them or they're lucky to be with you. That's not the case. You're just burning in their presence. And you're on fire for your self-ordained mission that you've given yourself. And it's up to you whether you want to wake up to your calling or your mission that you set out for yourself in the previous life. That's completely up to you. You get to decide when and how you act that out. And so I have not found my twin flame. I have not. In fact, when I was younger, I would think to myself that I'm not going to find it in this life. I think it'll be a different life that I find my twin flame. A lot of people are afraid of being alone. Maybe you've been searching for your twin flame for a long, long time. Longer than you've been born in this incarnation. And that's okay. You know, everyone's got this idea of, rush, we got to get it done. I'm worried that I'm going to end up alone or anything like that. And you're just not, you haven't found somebody. I mean, and if you do find someone who feels that same way, you're just going to be in a constant cycle of teaching each other a bunch of things that you hate about yourself. And so my intention is to really just continue to love on myself and burn brighter and brighter and brighter and become so in love with myself. I want to be so in love with myself that I attract somebody who's in love with themselves as well. And see, the truth is once you learn how to love yourself, once you truly, truly learn how to love yourself, you won't see things about yourself that you hate in other people. And you won't criticize them. You won't try to make them different. You won't try to make them better. I mean, even the very act of you wanting someone to experience something like you experienced it, that's your insecurities playing out. And you're searching for someone to burn at the same intensity as you because you feel like you need that person. But it's a catch-22, because the very act of having a twin flame, a true flame burning with you, you weren't looking for them in the first place. They just showed up. And that's where the magic is. If you're searching for a love, if you're looking for it, I think there's probably a pretty good chance that you're really afraid you won't find it. And that's what your mind is, that's what really is powering your everything. Your magnet that draws things to you. It's going to bring you more people that feel the same way. If you feel like you need anything outside of yourself to be happy, that's a losing formula. That formula is powered by lack and limitation. And you will emulate that in your life. And so, now I want to go on to the subject of twitterpation, this thing that we call love. Love is not a phenomenon. It's not something that, ooh, I found someone and there was love there. No, love always is. It's everywhere. It's in the air. It's a frequency. It's a quantifiable, like scientific instruments could measure it. It is an actual frequency that you can tap into whenever you want. It's not a phenomenon like passion that happens sometimes. Love is always there. Always. When you feel like you're greatly attracted to somebody and they make you feel good about yourself, it means that they're taking care of a job. They're taking on a role that you were meant to fulfill. You're the one that should be making you happy, not relying on somebody else to do it for you. The love frequency is always there, and it can be tapped in at any time. This twitterpation, like I was saying, the Disney movie, when you just feel you're so attracted to somebody, is an actual magnetic attraction where you both have a frequency that's quite similar to each other's, and your heart, the electromagnetic field that your heart generates, the toroidal field, for all my curious friends who've been looking and doing their research, toroidal fields, they feed off each other's energy. When they find another field that vibrates at the same frequency, they're going to attract to each other. But a lot of people feel like that magnetic attraction is love. Love is not a magnetic attraction. Love is a frequency that you can tune into. Now, the closer you tune into love, the closer you assimilate the cells, every cell of your being, to that frequency and tune into that channel, then what's going to happen is you're going to find other people who've done the same thing, who've tuned into love. And they're so enamored, they're so magnificently engrossed in this frequency that they feel they love themselves so much they don't need anybody else. And I'll tell you, when there's two people like that, I can't imagine how amazing that would be to just feel so complete, and then being around another person who just feels so complete in their love for themselves because they've tapped into the universal love. And so just remember, and if you're ever having a hard time because this person was mean, or this person didn't like you, or you're fascinated with some other beautiful creature, I like to call us creatures because we are creatures, very curious creatures. And for anyone who is fascinated with another human, and don't be so quick to call it love, because if it was true love, for an example, here's an example. Let's say me and you we're twin flames. We were burning with each other at the same intensity for life and for everything that we enjoyed and loved. And let's say we got really, well, I'll never grow old, but let's pick some other people as an example, since I don't fit this really well. But say two other people, they decided to grow old, and so they did grow old. And then one of them eventually couldn't even go to the bathroom without help, and needed assistance the whole time they were going to the bathroom. Okay, how crazy would that be? Imagine that. And those two people felt so complete in themselves that they were not insecure or embarrassed to help each other. And so then when the other helped the one who needed help to go to the bathroom every single day, and had to clean them up. That's tapping into the love frequency. Okay? That is love. All right? You would not do that for this person that you're fascinated with. You would be grossed out because you don't really love them. You're fascinated with them, and that's different. I like to call that twitterpation. And so just remember that you are immortal, and your soul has lived so many lives and is going to live so many more lives. Don't be in such a rush. Don't be in such a rush to find a twin flame. Take the soulmates as they come. Learn from them. Become a better driver of your vehicle called your body. Your spirit is the driver. Your body is the vehicle. Keep that analogy in mind when you're judging somebody, when you're criticizing people, because it's really hard to drive a car and try to drive someone else's car, or even worse, if you're trying to control somebody. You can't drive your Lamborghini and drive someone else's car, Lamborghini, at the same time. You can't do that. You can only drive one car. Now, you can inspire people to become better drivers, but if you try to drive their car for them, who's going to drive your car? This is why many of the sages of all time, the most well-known ones, they say, don't judge other people. It's not going to help you. It's not going to benefit you. And I would say anyone who suggests otherwise is misleading, whether intentionally or not. So that's pretty much it for this episode.